And it's great to talk to you at length about the film. I think all the subjects in it are very, very current. For you, what was the most important thing to portray, you know, when, you know, talking about Marilyn?
I think for me as Marilyn, my goal was to be the love, essentially, and the freedom and the free spirit of the early 70s. And then on a, you know, on a larger scale, our sort of collective goal. At that time, we were in the election, so we were in the midst of it. We were just before the American election. It was just before the American election when we shot it. It was an interesting time to shoot it.
Exactly.
You know, and good on Fox for green lighting it before diversity became a hot topic, but just for green lighting it anyway. And then, you know, so much has changed in America since we shot the film. So I think collectively that in the beginning, as we were shooting it, we were all very clear about wanting to tell a story of equal pay, which is still a battle worth fighting, and just as relevant now. And you know, equality in terms of sexuality and not being marginalized for anything, especially as a sports personality, in the sense that Billie Jean was. You know, she lost her endorsements when she was outed overnight. Yeah. And that was very recently. That wasn't, you know, that wasn't 100 years ago. That was very recently.
Exactly. All the themes are so current. It's a little bit uncanny.
Very little's changed. Some things have changed.
Yeah, I mean, it's going in a direction, but it's just not there.
Yeah, in 1973, a woman couldn't get a bank account without being co-signed with her husband, you know. And, you know, it's funny, every time we say that in a room, I can feel everyone in the room going,
like, what?
Well, is that true?
In the 70s?
It is absolutely true. At the time that this film's set. It's really a short time ago.
Yes.
And so that's a change that we've made. We can now get our own bank accounts.
Yay! You told me yesterday that...
God forbid my sort of sexuality, God forbid my being a woman might confuse me at the bank. I mean, I could do anything. I could buy a house accidentally, or I might just press the wrong button.
It's really irresponsible.
I know.
Co-sign. You told me yesterday Marilyn had passed away, but how much information was available to you from people who had known her?
You know, very, very little, but, well, here's the thing. There would have been an awful lot of information from people who had known her had I gone down that road. That's not something I did. And the reason for that is Marilyn passed away. You know, their relationship ended not the way that it began. And Billie Jean is a real person, you know, with feelings, and this was a time in her life, and we're documenting a very confusing time in Billie's life for her. So I just wanted to be respectful. And so instead I gleaned what I could from still imagery and talking to Dayton and Faris, reading everything that I could. And I think it was actually the best thing that we could have done, because you know, when you're playing somebody who really existed, there's the real person, and then there's a character who serves a purpose in the piece. Exactly. And my purpose in the piece was to she's a catalyst for Billie Jean, to see her body as this sensual thing rather than perhaps rather than a machine, this incredible, powerful machine, you know, that she awakened something sexually in her, which was really beautiful. I love their relationship. I think it's such a wonderful part of the film.
And how much did you also discuss it with Emma as performances? Because it was such a beautiful moment in the film, you know, when they meet, when this sensuality gets awakened.
Yeah, we talked about that quite a lot, actually, you know, as we've been publicising this. And I think you can't prepare to be present. You just have to be there. So the preparation that we did was really just, you know, talking over Simon's words, making sure that we felt everything felt right to us, that we knew where we were coming from, and just really talking. It wasn't, there was no kind of, there's nothing you can really do to be present, you know, other than be present in that moment. So we'd kind of done all of our work before, and Dayton and Faris and Emma and I had talked, and we made Birdman together before, and we didn't so we've been friends, but we hadn't acted together, you know.
Yeah.
But that was kind of perfect because it felt then quite giddy when we first met as Marilyn and Billy, which was it was really exciting.
But that's also one of the themes of the films that mirrors today, you know, women sticking together and women feeling comfortable with one another, like, you know, you seem to be with Emma. How important is that, you know,
and championing one another?
Yes, exactly, supporting one another.
It's very important to me. I have an all-female film company, and you know, it's a big part of my life, and it's important to me because for so long in my life I felt almost embarrassed to be a woman, you know, and it comes out in all sorts of ways with me, like I'm, you know, androgynous, you know, very androgynous, and I think it's a very hard thing to own, being a woman, when you see so many negative images out there all the time. And when you're in school, you're in class, and the boys tell a joke, and everyone laughs at the boys. The girls tell a joke, and there's like a tumbleweed rolls by. You know, you're sort of not allowed to be funny, not allowed to have a political opinion, especially for my job. You know, that kind of disempowering feeling about being a woman. But actually, we bring life into the world, and it's, you know, it's really
very powerful.
You do not empower us; we are already in power.
Yeah, absolutely. It's quite a miraculous thing. I've gone through it recently, and it's crazy.
Have you?
Yes. I have a 15-month-old, and it's just.
God, congratulations!
Thank you so much.
That's so wonderful.
And so. What I love about Emma is that she's got this personable quality to her, and talent, and you know, she's quite the package as a girl, as a talented actress,
the package.
Everything. Yeah, she is. You know, she ticks all the boxes, doesn't she?
Well, yeah, she's just a wonderful human being, you know, and so incredibly talented. And I mean, she's that scene in the locker room where she loses it. We've all been there before, in that moment.
The pressure
in your life, yeah, when the pressure cooker pops. Every ounce of that is her bringing a whole experience and a whole self to Billy's story, which I think was phenomenal. I think she gives an amazing performance. Yeah,
very vulnerable in the right direction, basically.
Yeah. It's hard to be. You have to be courageous to be that open.
True. First time you met was for the Madonna movie about Wallis Simpson, and then, you know, Tom Cruise film, and it's been very diverse for you. How much do you enjoy diversity in film, not in the sense of racial diversity, but in the sense of different projects, different genres all the time?
I really enjoy it, but I think actually, now that you mention racial diversity, that's really something that I am just interested in. I'm sick of seeing the same old thing on screen, and the idea that you know, only love between two very attractive people can be of any value, or in terms of making, you know, some sort of narrative out of it and creating a piece of art. It's so boring
and redundant.
And yeah, two beautiful white people at that. So yeah, I think I'm really enthusiastic about that in film at the minute. I think things have really changed because people are now being held accountable for their very, very bland and safe choices, and they can't do it anymore. It's just not possible to do it at the minute. You know, like a lot of studios have been called out on their incredibly white casting. It's just boring, and it's not an accurate representation of the world by any means. You know, it's a very small percentage of people representing, you know, a minority of the world, rather than like seeing, you know, different people. It's difficult because the American film industry is so powerful. So whatever comes out of America is what we all watch all over the world, in South Africa, and, you know, everywhere in the world. And yeah, diversity is an important thing, obviously.